Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Come on in here with me and sit down and get yourself something hot or cold to drink. Every time I say those words, come in here and sit down with me. I think about my grandmother who lived in rural Kentucky, and she had a little bitty old house. It was a pioneer house years before she was there, and very small, and it had a screen door on the back. And when you walked in her house, that screen door would creak, and as you passed through, it would, there was a spring on it, would pull that screen door to and would slam shut. And I could still remember, even sitting here today, the sound of that screen door. It was such a lovely sound to me as a child, because it meant I was at my grandmother's house, and there were so many wonderful things in my grandmother's house. Even though she was poor and she didn't have a whole lot, still there was so many things to explore there. And so when I ask you to come in and sit down with me, I'm inviting you into my grandmother's, in my mind, I'm inviting you into my grandmother's kitchen, where we can sit at the table, and my grandmother would go to the refrigerator and she'd get out a Coke and maybe a Heath bar and hand it to us for a snack, So open your Bible up here at my grandmother's table, in my mind anyway, and we're going to read today verse 3 in Psalm 131. Let me read that for us. Let Israel hope in the Lord, from henceforth and forever. Now you'll notice that David makes a change here. There are 10 phrases in this psalm, and 7 of those 10 phrases contain the first person pronoun. So this is very personal to David. He's writing this to Israel, but it's almost like we're looking over his shoulder as he writes his journal, because he writes, my heart, my eyes, I run, wonderful for me, except I stilled my soul. So we see over and over again, we have this first person, but now here in verse 3, it's like David knows we're standing behind him, and he turns around to his audience and he says, let Israel hope in the Lord. What's that based on? That statement is based on everything that David has said so far. He said, my heart's not exalted, and we had all those negatives. And then we come to verse 2. He says, I have composed and stilled my soul as a weaned child upon his mother. My soul is like a weaned child. So he wants to encourage Israel to do exactly the same thing that he's done in this little, I don't know, call it a confession, call it a journal entry, a prayer book that he's writing for himself. All of these things are happening, and David is saying, okay, Israel, now it's your turn. And I think he's turning to us as well, not just to Israel, but to all of his readers, and he's saying, okay, now it's your turn. Hope in the Lord. Notice verse 3 again. Hope in the Lord, from henceforth and forever. My translation, I have, let Israel hope or wait in the Lord or upon the Lord, both now and forever. So it's present right now, and for as long as you're able to draw breath, hope in the Lord. Why is that? Why do I want to hope in the Lord? Why do I want to wait on the Lord? Well, I think what we have here is a response to, or a connection to, I guess I should put it that way, Psalm 130, because there in verses 5, 6, and 7, we have something similar. There, David is encouraging us to wait on the Lord. Here, he's encouraging us to wait or to hope on the Lord, and to do it forever, because the Lord is who he, outlines him to be in this passage. So these pronouns end, he turns to his audience, he looks at his audience, and he says, okay, now here's my prayer, that Israel would hope in the Lord, both now and forever, because that's good for Israel. That's good for those who believe and trust in God. That's good. So don't hope in the other things. Don't exalt your heart. Okay, don't lift up your eyes. Don't run after great things or things too wonderful for you. Understand who you are and who he is. Okay, so join me next time, and we're going to look at Psalm 132 here at Daily Dose Radio.